Something you're big on, right, is like, anytime you start a new job, the first 30, 60 days, that's really important. You wanna get the shit buttoned up before you can expect to see any results, right? So what does that look like for you?
Well, there's a few questions you're throwing at me at once. The process is important because too many people just over tinker. You make a song, if you're not careful, you could sit in the fucking lab and tinker with that song indefinitely without releasing it.
Yep.
At some point in time, you have to trust, like, this is good.
Yeah. Jake, what's my rule?
You don't like overthink things? So what
85% rule. When I feel like something's 85% done, I ship it.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty similar to my B+, A- kind of mentality, right? But you probably have this process. You're like, okay, I lay down the track, I tinker with this, I tinker with that, and you know how to get to like 85%.
Yeah.
What too many people do is they'll be like, I wonder if I can get to 85% faster doing this. Yeah. Or what if I try this? Or this didn't work the way I wanted to this one time, so I got to scrap this process out. So fortunately for me, I was not built with that gene to like over tinker with something. Like, if this one thing works, I'm going to do it that way until it stops working. If I keep going to my left with Elijah and scoring, I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
I have no shame. If I'm a football coach, if I'm getting 3.5 yards in a cloud of dust every time, I'm doing that every fucking play until you stop. And that's how I was with selling. Without that, you're rudderless. You don't know what's actually working or not working. And so you ping pong around trying all these things, but you actually have no answer ever. And I've never seen somebody be super successful operating that way. That's the process component. And then you apply that when you first go in as maybe a founding AE or a head of sales, VP of sales, even as a go-to-market consultant. Take in the information, lay of the land, like what's going on. And then what's the process? Well, the process becomes, I need to learn this industry. I don't know anything about cybersecurity, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what are the terms? Terminology. What do they actually do? What's the pain they solve? How do they make money? Who are the competitors? People who don't come from industry need to understand the industry first. What comes after that? Well, now I need to understand the product. What do you do? What do you not do? How do I use the product? How do I open a file here? How do I send a report there? How do I create this thing here? Somebody's going to ask you those on a call. Hey, Ding, show me how to do this. You can't sit there and be like, that's a good question. I'm going to have to get my sales engineer for that. That's a stupid fucking answer.
Yeah.
Right? It's such a stupid answer. We created a whole other fucking role where people get paid just to answer those questions. You got to know how to do at least like mid-level stuff inside the product, right? Okay, now you know the product. What comes after that? Well, now you got to know the process. Well, what's the operational rigor involved? How does this company use HubSpot or Salesforce? What are the stages? When can I move something from one stage to another? Do I make sure I understand how to use whatever tool people are using to send emails or listen to calls or send a recording to my manager or whatever, right? How do we actually send a contract? How do I receive a contract? How do I get paid? That's all operational rigor shit. Then comes the messaging. What do I say? What's the elevator pitch for this company? If I cold call somebody, what am I going to say? If I run a demo, what things am I going to show straight away versus which things am I going to wait for somebody to ask me about? And then I'm going to show them. What are the objections I'm going to run into, and how does the company want me to respond when I get these particular objections? How do they want me to talk about the different competitors that are out there? That's it. That's 4 things. Every single person, regardless of role, in my opinion, should understand those 4 things. That's not how businesses work right now, by the way. You go get an engineering job, nobody's asking you to memorize like the sales pitch, but they should. Understand the industry, understand the product, understand the process, and understand the pitch and the messaging. That's the first thing to do. That's a formula. And if you apply that every single time wherever you go, you're off to a better start than somebody who shows up and it's like, oh, what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
Who do I talk to today? Right? What am I going to learn today? And that process that I'm talking about, that's a couple week process. Could be a month or 2, depending on the complexity of the arena that you're playing in. And so having that clarity of execution, okay, this is what I do first. Well, now I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous about that. What exists that I can't learn those 4 things? Nothing.